Alright folks, so today we're going to be looking at 3 of the 6 international ideologies. So what do I mean by international ideologies? Well, international ideologies are ideologies that dictate the approach that you have towards international matters. So for example, in this example, the white triangle stands for all of the peaceful ways to interact with other nations, and the black triangle represents all of the aggressive ways to interact with other nations. Today we're going to be looking at the black triangle. We're going to be looking at the aggressive side of things. Alright, then we're going to be looking at the white. So let's start off with the top part of this triangle. This is expansionism, okay? Now, expansionism has 2 separate forms. It has a peaceful form and a violent form. It's the only international ideology that has these 2 different forms. But generally, most of the time, it is in its violent form, which is why it's considered a more violent ideology. So let's look at its non-violent form first. Its non-violent form is called colonialism, and is basically simply the expansion of your borders into territories that were previously unsettled. So think like what would be necessary in space exploration. It's very likely that in the space age, we're going to end up engaging in a whole lot of colonialism. Where we are settling unsettled lands. However, the most common form of expansionism is, of course, conquering, where you literally expand your borders into already settled lands by violently suppressing the people who have settled there before you. Alright? So that really just sums up expansionism in a nutshell, pretty much. Now let's move on to expansionism's relative, imperialism. Alright, so imperialism is more along the lines of think 2 countries, 1 government. So you have a motherland and you have a childland, okay? So the motherland has its form of government, but its form of government becomes integrated into the government of the other country. That other country is seen pretty much like its own country, but is still but has an integrated government into your own. Basically, it's a country that could be independent if its government was not integrated into the government of the motherlands. Alright? That pretty much sums up imperialism. Now let's go to interventionism. Interventionism is the most common thing on this triangle in the modern age. Interventionism is all about puppet governments. So what a puppet government is basically where the government of one sovereign nation has control over the government of another nation, either through directly appointing those members of government or through different means. But basically it is where one country has control over another country's government. Okay, it's not an integrated government. The government's not integrated into the other country, but there's still that level of control. And that's what a puppet state is. Alright? So, I hope you liked this video and I hope you learned something. If you want to support the channel, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. See y'all!